Do not believe them when they tell you, oh, we want lower inflation. Talking about the Kamala Harris's, Donald Trump's. Do not believe them. They want inflation. They need it. They crave it. They're like addicts. It's basically like an addict. They need the liquidity to pay off the debts. What do you do, Kanekis? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. So we're getting straight into it. We're going to talk about why you feel poorer in 2024 than you did 4 years ago. Now, I'm sure we've all heard about inflation, CPI, Consumer Price Index, and talking about how the inflation rate is coming down. However, take a look at this chart. Since 2020, the cumulative inflation rate is 25%. That's for those of you in America. Those of us in the United Kingdom, it's a little bit worse. It's about 35%, 37%. So this is the inflation we're feeling right now, 37% since 2020. Now, where's this inflation coming from? So the media, the news outlets will tell you, oh, inflation is the price increase. However, the price increase is the symptom, not the cause. The real cause of inflation is money printing. This is done by the government and it is done by central banks. The Federal Reserve, the Bank of England, Bank of Japan, People's Bank of China. They've all got central banks that are responsible for the money supply. So we're currently looking at the chart of M2. M2 is basically cash deposits, savings accounts, treasury funds. That's M2. And you can see in 2020, there is a massive spike. Massive spike. To be more specific, it is an increase of roughly 37% in the US dollar money supply over the 4 years since 2020. So basically, they have an incentive to print money because it's a debt-based economy. So what's a debt-based economy? They basically borrow money into existence and then they charge interest for it. And they have a 2% target rate for inflation. So they're literally telling us, we will raise prices, or we will cause prices to rise by at least 2% year over year. That is what we're going for. So they're telling us they are going to steal our purchasing power by 2% each year. Look at this. This is a quote from the Richmond Fed. It's directly from them. The committee seeks to achieve maximum employment and inflation at the rate of 2% over the long run. Why? Because they believe that's the target for price stability. Now, guys, explain. You need to explain this to me. Like, why is an increase of 2% year over year equating to stable prices? Does it make sense to you? Because to me, it doesn't. It really doesn't. How can an increase mean stability? They need it so that they can devalue their debt. They're basically trying to devalue the mountain of debt they're sitting on. I'll talk about that in a future video. We'll talk about the United States balance sheet. It is shocking. They're practically bankrupt. So they need inflation to inflate away the debt. And guys, that is why we're all struggling, well, some more than others, with the inflation rate right now. 25% for America, about 37% for the United Kingdom. And different countries around the world are going through the same thing. Everyone's struggling due to an inflation rate. They'll blame it on the war in Russia, war in Ukraine, the Middle East. But those are just symptoms. Those are really just symptoms. They're not the main cause. The only cause is government printing. So we'll hear it from the horse's mouth. It is Adrian Orr, the governor of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, telling us exactly what they're doing.
You know, the fiscal challenges, etc., that are there. So very focused on being cost effective. We actually fund ourselves and then work out what dividend is needed to pay. So we kind of work, it's a great business to be in, central banking. You print money and people believe it, and touch wood.
And they're laughing.
And so it's a slightly different beast.
They're laughing. You know,
print the fiscal
money,
challenges, etc.
People believe it. Guys, we're in a fiat currency system. I don't want to go into so much detail because it's just the one video. There are so many videos I've got lined up talking about exactly what all of these things mean. It is deliberate, It is completely deliberate. Do not believe them when they tell you, oh, we want lower inflation. Talking about the Kamala Harris's, Donald Trump's. Do not believe them. They want inflation. They need it. They crave it. They're like addicts. It's basically like an addict. They need the liquidity to pay off the debts. And it's all about protecting yourself. How do you protect yourself from this money printing? Basically invest your money. Invest your money in the stock market, precious metals, namely gold and silver. There's also real estate. Personally, I'm just into gold and silver for now. I just prefer the story there. It is incredibly undervalued against a lot of other assets. Again, that's one for a future video. There's other ways you can protect yourself is by getting a raise at your job, getting a promotion. Make sure you're at least keeping up with the rate of inflation. Those of us in the UK, like I said, 37% cumulative since 2020. So you're looking at hopefully a 9% raise annually. Those of you in US, probably a 6% raise. Look to work overtime, put in more hours at work. That could also probably lead to a promotion if your boss acknowledges your efforts. You've also got the option of upskilling, learn new trades, learn new skills that are valuable to the employment market. Don't go for degrees that typically don't employ very well. You really want to future-proof your earnings. Also, pay down your debts. Pay down your debts. Please pay down your debts. It's something I will talk about in a future video. The rate of credit card delinquencies is just ridiculous at the moment. Savings rates are also at an all-time low. Just look after your financial health. I will do my best to bring as much information to you guys as possible. This is going to be an ongoing thing. It is where the channel is going to go for the foreseeable future. And yeah, this is just a very quick overview because it is of utmost importance. I do hope you found this somewhat eye-opening. At least that's a good introduction to what's really going on to help you make sense of why every time you go to the store, there's a price increase on your groceries. And now to wrap things up, I will play a second video by the legendary Milton Friedman. I love this guy. Very sound economist. And he explained exactly what I've been talking about how it's government that creates inflation. Let's check it out.
Yes, sir.
In a recent interview of U.S. News and World Report, Secretary of the Treasury Blumenthal blamed our current rising inflation in a large part on our foreign trade and unions.
That's how they lied to
say
us.
That the government was little to blame. Would you like to comment on that?
Yes?
I love it.
Secretary Blumenthal knows as well as you and I do that inflation does not come from trade unions. That doesn't mean that trade unions aren't grasping. Of course they are. But they don't produce inflation for one simple reason. They do not own a printing press on which you can turn out green pieces of paper. The only such printing press is in Washington. I say printing press, of course, in the modern age we do it in a more sophisticated way.
Basically digital printing.
We use bookkeepers and accountants and computers. But it comes down to the same thing.
Typing zeros on a screen. That is how they inflate the money supply these days.
Inflation is made in Washington because only Washington can create money. And any other attribution to other groups of inflation is wrong. Consumers don't produce it. Producers don't produce it. The trade unions don't produce it. Foreign sheiks don't produce it. Oil imports don't produce it. What produces it is too much government spending and too much government creation of money and nothing else. Yes, sir.
So as an analogy to money printing and how it devalues the existing currency, think of it like dish soap. Give me a second. We'll say it's half full. Positivity. A half full dish soap is not a fairy sponsor, by the way. Just bear with me. If you wanted to fill this up to the top, but you didn't have any more dish soap, you fill it in with water. It dilutes the existing soap in there. Meaning you'll need a larger volume of soap to get the same amount of lather. Now that increase in volume is analogous to an increase in price. That is why we have inflation, because they're devaluing the currency by printing more and putting it into the economy. Inflation is not the increase in price, it is the increase in money supply. So that is it for this one. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. It is one that was a real eye-opener to me when I started my financial journey about 1.5 years ago. I will be bringing more of these summaries to you in the coming weeks and hopefully months. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe as well to catch future ones. Share it out with people you believe will need to see this. I think everyone needs to know that it's actually the government that's causing inflation, not you. They tend to blame it on workers because, oh, workers are earning more. You know, the consumer is strong. They are spending a lot at groceries, spending a lot on nights out at restaurants. It's their fault. No, it's not. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's the government. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will be bringing more of these in the future, and I'll see you there. Peace.